This is the Illimitable Experience Podcast.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Illimitable Experience Podcast. If you're watching this video, like this video, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, do subscribe to the channel. We are posting great content regularly. With that, today we have as a guest Balakrishna Patange. Hi Bala,
Hi,
how are you?
all good, all good. How are you? Hope you're well.
Yes,
All is
I'm
great with
doing
your
very well.
life.
Yes, I'm very excited to have you today. Reason being that it was when we started doing podcast. I always had this vision that I want to invite someone who is commentating for the UFC in India. Karke. And today is the day where we finally have you.
Thank you. Even commentating in India for UFC is like a recent phenomenon. So, even I was surprised when I knew कि there is Hindi commentary. I knew before I started commenting, getting like a while back, I knew. Then, somehow that opportunity came to me, and I'm very lucky to, commentate the sport that I love very much.
Right. So, Bala, can you introduce yourself to the guest who will be watching this? What you do, and obviously we already talked about your UFC Hindi commentator. What else do you do?
So, I started with my MMA. I'm also an MMA fighter. I've represented India at the amateur world championships two times, and amateur Asian championships one time. So I am an MMA fighter, still amateur right now. Not haven't gone pro yet. My MMA record will be around 12-4, which amateur record will be around 12-4. This is 12 wins and 4 losses. And within the past few years, I've tried to make a career in sports. I started my MMA my MMA journey when I was 19 in 2014. So I started training back then, and I just did that to reduce weight. My intention wasn't to fight, or I didn't even know what UFC was. I just did that to reduce weight, and within 1 year, I competed at my first nationals in 2015. I was at light heavyweight that time, and I won that championship with a very good knockout. That was my first and second fights basically, because it was a tournament thing. So first fight I won by knockout, second also I won by knockout. So, and that's how the story continues so that is what I do. And apart from that, in the sports, this is for MMA just. I also am a sports management master. I have a degree in sports management, and I really hope to know you really bring a revolution of sports in India. Right now, it's the thing is ki, in generally in sports, cricket is cannibalizing the whole thing, where everything is focused only on cricket, or your football, EPL, and to some extent ISL, and many other sports have been overlooked, which I hope, and there are things going in that direction where things will be changing very soon. So I have a degree in sports management, and I hope to make good use of it in the coming years.
Right. Bala, you told me that you started MMA not with any purpose, but then just to reduce weight, right? So
Yeah.
why only MMA? Like there were many things like gymming kar lete, या वो कुछ gymnastics कर लेते or any other sports which help you to reduce weight. तो ये MMA पे ही क्यों दिल आ गया ऐसा?
Uh, okay, funny story. I used to do before that. I used to do gym. I was doing gym, like normal your weight training, normal weight training. I was doing that, and then sometimes once I saw this Kurban movie. There was an interview of Saif Ali Khan, and he said कि he did kickboxing for weight loss. Or getting shape, whatever. मतलब वो उसका action role का shape जो है, he got into that shape with the help of kickboxing. So I was like, okay, so let's search. This is something unique. So I was like, okay, let's search what is kickboxing, and then on the Google I found a gym near me, which like 2-3 kilometers away, and then from there I started training kickboxing. I thought, okay, chalo, let's reduce weight. And the second thing was कि I was a little bit bullied in my childhood, मतलब not एकदम harassment type, or some, like, you see a lot of people in doing bad things to other people, not to that extent, but bullied, of course. And I always thought ki, Arey yaar, I should know how to defend myself. So this was like two birds with one stone. So I went for it, and then and I'll tell you, like, just for the layman who doesn't need to fight, my experience with kickboxing or any type of combat sports, basically, like this is for non-fighter. Okay, you don't want to make a career in whatever sports, whatever combat sports. Just for the non-fighter, your weight loss is there, your stamina, your strength, and in mental cases, like your mentality, your confidence increases, your personality. You have a lot of confidence when talking to people. I was an introvert. I was a fat nerd type of a kid. Now I feel like I am able to talk to anybody, and I am able to initiate conversations with people, which the older Bala would never have done. So, like, for me, this is for me, and I think I have seen a lot of people gain a lot of confidence when, because see, one of your worst fears in life, anywhere, for anyone, is that, oh, if I get into a physical confrontation, what can happen? But if you have the surety that, okay, if any, the worst, that is the worst case scenario. If your worst case scenario, you are confident in handling your worst case scenario, a lot of other things, you immediately, automatically, you gain confidence. And I've seen that not just in me, but there was a time where I was training other people also. So I have seen that in them as well. So this for the layman, like, apart from your combat sports, fighting, winning tournaments, just for the layman, just for the student, working professional, whoever, housewife, whoever wants to lose weight, great benefits for, and that is why I loved it. I found it interesting. Maybe if I wouldn't have found it interesting, I wouldn't have done it. But I found it interesting, and these are the side effects or the byproducts of the kickboxing or
Learning.
any combat. Yeah.
Yeah. Bala, I don't know if you have heard this or not, but there are two ways to, uh, deal with situations. One is the verbal way, कि जहाँ पे आप बातों से करके लोगों के साथ जो भी प्रॉब्लम है वो सुलझा दो. And the second is this raw cannibal तो नहीं बोल सकते, raw क्या बोलते हैं, एप मैन काइंड ऑफ इंस्टिंक्ट, जहाँ पे दो लोगों को लड़वा दो, जो उसमें से जीतेगा ही विल बी द किंग ऑफ दैट ट्राइब, राइट? तो वर्बली तो देखो, वो तो हम क्या है कि अभी नाउ वी आर लिविंग इन अ सोसाइटी वेयर psychology and words are more impactful than physical fight. वो हम लोग ने, we have evolved as a human beings as well, इसलिए अभी लोग अभी fighting करते हैं नहीं. But for people who aren't able to verbally, still at this point of time, verbally solve these issues, people go back to their natural instinct, which is natural fighting, kickboxing, MMA. They realize, they learn from that, and then they start speaking, that improvement is clearly visible. And I do relate to it completely, because back in the school days and college, right, मेरे साथ भी, I was also in the same, bullied, not completely, but क्या बोलते हैं, it was more like psychological games, right? कुछ लड़ाई बड़ाई नहीं हुई थी. So वो तो मैंने वो लॉ डिग्री करके वो निपटा दिया, अभी लोगों से बात कैसे करते हैं करके, ठीक है. But there is still this insecurity, because I'm only 5'5", right? And I weigh only like 60 to 63 kgs. So there is always that that voice which says ki, what if this a random raste pe ja rahe, any person who is appearing taller than me or bulky than me, कि what if you were to get into a fight with this guy, would you be able to beat it? तो वो जो voice है ना, that is also something that why I also want to join MMA, and which I've told you, things didn't turn up as I wanted to turn up back last year, but when I'm still sticking to that, and I'll certainly join it. In fact, since you are into MMA, you must be listening to Joe Rogan podcast as well, and
I used to.
Yeah, and you remember one of those episodes where George St. Pierre, he was talking about how he got into MMA because he too was bullied in his school times. So I think bullying is one of the major propeller for boys probably to get into MMA.
For sure.
तो ये जो kickboxing का you started, right? And so At what point of your kickboxing or MMA training did you realize, or did your professor, who is teaching, realized कि यार ये बंदे में अगर मैंने invest किया तो he can go on to represent India at a, international level करके?
Uh, the like from the time a lot of people in MMA at that time, especially right now, it's become like you join an MMA class and you start with MMA. Okay, you join an MMA class, you start with all the things taught to you at the same place. पहले ऐसा होता था कि you are a boxer, you are a wrestler, you are a karate guy, you are a judo guy, or whatever, XYZ, and you come to MMA. So already you are very good in one sport. So that is the difference between when I started, I didn't know anything. I didn't know kickboxing. I didn't know how to stand, how to get a punch, hit a punch, whatever. No, ekdam basic, zero level se. And from 8 months later, I fought and I won by knockout head kick. Okay, by head kick. Both the knockouts, one was a TKO, one was a knockout. Both the finishes by head kick. So, and head kick is very difficult, and usually people don't have confidence to do it, especially when you're new. So, I really practiced a lot, and obviously my coaches were there at all times to support me. So every time my coaches were there to support me, and I'm fortunate enough that I've got wherever I've been training, I've got good teachers to train me and stuff. So that is a good thing. And after that, see, honestly, I'll tell you, I won, and I showed my video to my parents. They were a little scared of the knockout, basically. So that guy was unconscious for a 1-2 minute span, which was at that time also scary for me, because I didn't know. I had no clue कि association होता है. So if anything goes wrong, they are there. I was like, oh shit, if I did something like that, then police आएगी, जो आएगी. 19, 20-year-old. So I never knew what it was. So then it was a resounding success, my first tournament, and that encouraged me to do it complete full time. Full time as in really invest myself into that thing. Ki, if the result was different, I wouldn't have been so invested, but I won and the feeling was amazing. The feeling of euphoria lasted at least 1 month. I was like, oh shit, dude, you remember you did that thing? And I was like, oh yeah, nice. So that feeling of euphoria was something else. And I was like, I want to experience it again. And that's how it went ahead. I started, training harder, training more times consistently. And then that's how it started. And that's how it continued.
Right. So, Bala, you said you have participated, represented India at a national level. Okay. So, before going to national level, what are the other competitions that you had to clear, to make it to that national level?
Honestly, because MMA is a new sport, it was an open national. So you directly came to national. There was no, there is, even now there are starting to be state tournaments. But at that time, there was nothing as such, especially in India, where it was a new sport. At least in USA or wherever, there have been regional competitions. But in India, it was a very new sport. It was, I think, it was the first national championship which happened in India. So I won in my weight class, and there was nothing like that. I just went there and I just fought. It was that simple. There was there, and even now there are not enough. There are actually in nationals, there are you see 300, 500 people coming in, but there is no regional scene. Regional scene in the sense that there is no district, state, then nationals. There is no step like that. You can directly go to the nationals.
Okay, so ऐसा organized अभी हुआ नहीं है in the state is direct national पे.
What the problem is, it's not that it's not organized. Many associations are there which are organizing it properly. But the thing is, you need funds to organize a tournament of that caliber. And national karoge, when you have nationals, almost 100 people are to guaranteed anytime. So you can take care of your expenses in a way. You can, the rent, the cage, XYZ, whatever you have, the expenses. The officials are work for a voluntary basis just to better the sport. So that is what happens in nationals. Now the thing what it is there is, like, for example, if I do a Maharashtra tournament, if I do other states tournament, basically. So there you will have maybe 50, maybe 60, maybe 40, maybe 20, and those guys are if you don't already have a place, already have a cage, already have a gym, then there's no way you're gonna be able to pay the logistical costs. So it's not feasible for people right now. In the amateur, it's happening that the people are paying out of their own pockets, or rather fighters are paying, and they're not paying out of their own pockets, but they are not getting payment for the work they are doing. Officials, referees, judges, whoever, they are not getting any payment for the work they are doing. All the fighters, whatever the fee fighter pays, most of it is for the rent, most of it is for the cage transportation from here and there. So um, that is what it is, right? You need money to start the states and district.
Right. This is the third episode of MMA series that we are recording with you. Before that, we have had one of our mutual connections, Rag Ghosalkar. And he told me back in September that Tiger Shroff, Ajay Devgan, Arjun Rampal, these celebrities are now invested in this MMA sport, although they are not publicly telling. जैसे अभी समझ लो आईपीएल होता है, राइट? तो केकेआर का मैच है तो इट इज एक्सपेक्टेड कि शाहरुख खान, जूही चावला दिखेंगे, राइट? बट वैसा अभी इन लोगों ने वैसा अपीयरेंस करना चालू किया है नहीं टीवी पे. So do you think with the investment of these celebrities, even monetarily and क्या बोलते interest involved in this sport, whether sport will become more and more better?
Honestly, I only know of Tiger Shroff, who's doing MFN. Okay, he's publicly put his name out there that he's the owner and the producer, whatever you call it, is of MFN. His family, his mother and his sister also are involved in MFN. About the other names, they were there in SFL. Randeep Huda is one person I remember. Other Arjun Rampal, I don't honestly. Other names, I don't know if they're invested. I have no honestly. If you ask me, I don't know about them right now. SFL mein, there were a lot of celebrities, like I remember Jacqueline Fernandez, I remember Salim Suleiman, who were owners of specific teams. Like it was like Haryana Sultan, Maratha Warriors, XYZ. So SFL abhi filhal, I don't know SFL ka status kya hai. To udhar invested the. Right now, I have no idea about any of them other than Tiger Shroff, who is publicly there with his company saying that MFN is a Shroff family venture or whatever.
Okay. तो अभी टाइगर श्रॉफ ऐसा आ गया पब्लिकली ये क्लेम करने के लिए. तो have you noticed any change in the sport since him entering the sport? कि लोग अभी और invested हो गए players with regards to payment?
Yeah, honestly, like for people I have from fighters, I have heard that they take good care of fighters. They are giving them good payment, which in the Indian scene is one of the very few promotions that is one of the very few professional promotions that is paying the fighters. So that is a big deal, and of course Tiger Shroff supporting you and putting his name behind you goes a long way. So it's a good growth for MMA, and recently one of the fighters from MFN, two of the fighters rather, Pawan Man Singh and Anshul Jubli went to road to UFC. Pawan Man lost, Anshul Jubli got a bye, but that's a good thing, and because of MFN they got that push. Finally a big promotion in India, so they picked up fighters from here. So that's a good thing. Even though Pawan Man lost, gave a good showing, and that's what it is. So that's a good thing, and it's an encouraging sign, because maybe Tiger Shroff is coming in, so other people will also come in. And see, in India, SFL, which was the first huge promotion, I would say, that was also started by Rajkumar and Sanjay. So like it's a good sign for things. If
Mhm.
other people also get in this game,
This
then
sport.
that's a good sign for MMA.
Right. Uh, Balan, apart from this national championship, okay, that you have participated and won, I also noticed in your profile that you had also gone to Thailand, Bangkok. I mean, Bangkok is the capital of Thailand, so Bangkok and other Southeast Asian countries where you have participated. So, वहाँ पे ये कौन से competitions थे जो where you participated, and what were the outcomes of those matches?
No, there was only one competition, which was in Bangkok.
Hmm.
It was like a Asian championship.
Hmm.
For international, I won, like every time I went there, I have won a nationals, then I've gone to internationals. So
Okay.
there's no direct entry, at least for me,
Hmm.
because in 2018 I was there in the nationals. 2019 ka first half of the year I won a national championship, and then I went to Asians. Again 2019 ka second half of the year I won a national championship and then went to the world championship.
Hmm.
So it was not a free entry for me for the international championship, at least. Thailand, I went there for the Asian championship, and I went there for a month. So
Hmm.
very Thailand has very famous Muay Thai gyms, as well as two or three famous MMA gyms, which a lot of UFC fighters also frequent. UFC fighters do their fighting camps from there in Phuket. So for the first 5 days, I was there for the tournament. I lost in the first round, and then after that, I went there for two weeks. I trained with in Tiger Muay Thai. At that time, Rafael Fiziev, who just this week beat Dos Anjos in
Hmm.
UFC main event. He was the kickboxing coach there. I trained in the same class, like the pro MMA class. I trained in the same MMA class as a lot of people. Piotr Jan, Jimmy Salter, who was a Bellator title challenger. I sparred with Jimmy Crute, who's in light heavyweight division. And I obviously got beaten up. Like
Hmm.
nothing, I got nothing. Then I just got beaten up. But that was a great experience, though.
Hmm.
And so it was a good thing seeing how these guys train.
Hmm.
Like my takeaway is how these guys train. Or rather, it was my takeaway was how these guys train. How at the highest level training is done, and
Hmm.
learning about it, knowing about it, and that was a great experience. So I was there for a month and I experienced the culture of Thailand, how they train, how they live, and it kind of is a fighting culture due to their Muay Thai heritage, and now they
Hmm.
are also adding up in MMA. So it was a great thing.
Hmm. तो ये जो preparation होता है for participating in national and after going to this Asian championship, how much preparation goes for first we'll talk about nationals. कितना preparation जाता है कि कितना महीने पहले से वो कैंप चालू करना पड़ता है ट्रेनिंग का, and other things like how much you have to take care of yourself and everything.
So as an amateur fighter at an amateur level, you can't afford to, slack out ki, जब competition आएगी तभी तुम बात शुरू करोगे training. At that time, I used to train 2 times a day or even 3 times a day. And, you know, 3 times a day I used to train for nationals, and then also for the internationals I train. It's every fight is trains you have a like 4-week camp, 8-week camp, 12-week camp. You have these kind of things. So starting may you work on your, different camps have different schedules. For me, it was all the same, because at amateur level, you don't prepare for a specific opponent. First off, okay, so there is a tournament. You don't know who is coming. Anybody can come. Anybody can fight you. Then the next fight is a different opponent, different style of opponent. The third fight is also a different style of opponent. That is what takes place in amateurs. So you just have to train. You just have to work on your strengths, and you have to work on your instincts, stamina. And then the last week of the fight camp, you have a weight cut. So, which is like one day before the fight takes place, you have to dehydrate yourself to that weight, and then you get that 24 hours time to refuel, rehydrate, and then you are ready for the fight. Now, this weigh in weight, can differ from your real weight by a lot, sometimes 9 or 10 kgs.
Oh.
So in 24 hours, you can gain 9 or 10 kgs, and in a week, you can lose 9 or 10 kgs. So this is one of the main parts of any fighter's camp. At the amateur level, fighters don't cut that much of weight, because a lot of times what happens is amateur level, sometimes the weigh-in is done a day before, or a lot of times that it can also happen that the weigh-in is done on the same day. So it's not really advisable to cut the weight, cut a lot of weight, because you don't get that much of time to rehydrate. At the professional level, an opponent who they will give you a date maybe 2-3 months ago, that this XYZ guy is your opponent. So now you have all the time in the world to research, all the time in the world to make a strategy, all the time in the world to fight, bring in partners to mimic a little bit of his style. For example, he's a southpaw, he's a wrestler, he's a grappler, he's a good striker. You get in people to train with like that. You get used to that kind of a timing, that kind of a skill set. And again, your weight cut starts. Those guys have brutal weight cuts. So those guys have Khabib was famous for doing a lot, huge weight cuts, 12, 13 kgs, water weight he used to lose in a week, and then again gain them. So he was famous for that. And there were a lot of other people who are sometimes are known as fighters who cut a lot of weight. So that is how it is done. Professional camps are more structured. Professional camps are due to the notice and the name of the opponent, they are structured towards a specific person. As an amateur, you really can't focus on one person. You just have to focus on your strengths. And of course, in amateurs also, sometimes the date comes 1 month before. So you don't get that much time. You just train. Thoda intensity, you will obviously increase. Your mindset will be like, okay, now I'm training for a fight. But consistency has to be there. Otherwise, it's not that useful. And you shouldn't slack off that much when you're an amateur.
तो ये जो डिहाइड्रेशन की बात करी, तो ये करते कैसे है डे बिफोर द वेन?
Okay, so it is in principle it's kind of simple, but honestly you shouldn't attempt it that much. I have attempted it, kind of silly on my part, but luckily by God's grace I didn't receive any I didn't get any consequences of that. But a lot of people have severely injured themselves, severely hurt their body by doing this, by not knowing what to do, not taking advice of experts. So, and this is not a normal weight loss. This is not weight loss. It's not fat loss, which is like, I am losing weight. This is not that. This is you systematically, first you overload your body. First, there are 5 days. Your weight cut starts on Monday. Your weighing takes place on Friday. So 5 days. So first few days, first 2 or 3 days, you will overload your body with water. Okay. And your body starts losing it. You will maybe start peeing like 10 times a day, 12 times a day. You will eat your very light meal, soup and stuff, so that also water goes out of your body. Your body starts losing water. Your face starts to go inside your, water from your every part of your body will start to shrink. Your muscles will become dry. Your skin will become dry. And at the end of the day, if you need it, if some people go to sauna to lose the dry sauna to lose the remaining body water from their body, or you can put on sweatsuits and do some exercise so that you lose your body. So you will typically have videos of these fighters, in their last phase of weight training, they are wearing a sweatsuit. They have just trained, they take it off, and or they just open up that it's tight. So if they just open up and they do like this, they point their hand downwards, and you will see a stream of water coming.
Stream of water, right?
That's sweat. Okay, so they dehydrate themselves to a level where they weigh in at that whatever required weight is their weight category with the whatever is the weight category basically. And then they start to rehydrate, and they gain their weight back. They will either rehydrate with electrol or salt or however it is. I am not, every fighter has his different way. So that is how it's done. And definitely uh, just a combat sports thing, like it's idiotic kind of in a way that for you doing such a dangerous thing, 1 week before that thing you will actively try to hurt yourself. But if you don't do it, you will find that your opponent in the cage is a very heavier fighter, and if your skill level is equal and the size is heavier on the other guy, obviously he's going to dominate you. And as with every sport, people try to gain the smallest of advantages to beat the other guy. So this is a necessity, has become a necessity in combat sports. This takes place in boxing, this takes place in wrestling, judo, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, of course, MMA, kickboxing, you name it. Combat sports has this tradition of weight cut. So yeah, so that's how it's done. And always I'll give you a note that just please try it with supervision. At least don't do it alone. At least have some people to there with you, so that even if it goes wrong, you have some people to take you to the doctor. I have experience like dehydration. During dehydration, you don't make, like, your brain doesn't work. Okay, so I'll tell you a funny story. In 2019, after my Asians, I dropped down a weight class. So I cut in the preceding week, I cut 9 kgs on my own. I just did it, water loading, water removal with exercise and stuff. And I was so dehydrated, my face just went in. Like it was like this small. From 80, I was 84, 86 to 77, which was the weight class limit. Now I have to go to Bangalore from Mumbai. And I'm just gone. Like I can't think of anything. My mom, dad are concerned, but I'm going alone. So I just went to the airport. My mom and dad dropped me, and I forgot my wallet at my house. Yeah. So obviously you need that identification to go in. Phone pay, though, you get your tickets and that's fine. Identification, I didn't have it with me, but fortunately I had another identification with me in my different bag, so that was okay. So, but I was so dehydrated, I didn't know anything. I don't remember that kind of half of that flight. I was just so drained and just so done. But with at least, and I had to, like, Bangalore flight, then Bangalore se airport to bahut dur hai. So all that I had to do. And but that was like the worst experience. And then after that, I decided ki, if you're not gonna be able to do that without a weight cut, in amateurs at least, because amateurs it was not justified. Professional at least I'll have people to coaches who know their shit. But in amateurs, I will never do that kind of a weight cut again, which was my thing. I will never, and I genuinely will never do that kind of a weight cut again. Though it was not that, it was not smooth, but I had no one to take care of me, so that was kind of a mistake.
Right. So just a little bit of clarity on this. You said that if the weigh-in is on Friday, the dehydration starts on Monday. So jo initial
Monday or Sunday, 4 or 5 days, depending on your plan.
Yeah. तो वो जो पूरा वो टाइम होता है वो 1-2 दिन का, तो where we are loading completely with water, तो वो कितने दिन तक चलता है? लाइक अभी समझ लो मैंने मंडे को स्टार्ट किया, तो मंडे ट्यूसडे पूरा लोडिंग होगा या सिर्फ मंडे को होगा, एंड देन फॉर द नेक्स्ट 4 days नो वाटर एट ऑल?
It depends. It differs a lot of times with people, different people. Some people drink the maximum amount of water on Monday, थोड़ा कम Tuesday, उससे थोड़ा कम Wednesday, उससे थोड़ा कम Thursday. नहीं, like कम Thursday, and Friday, the day of the weigh-in, they don't drink anything till the weigh-in is done. That is the one like what I know of. This is what I also did the same. And the second thing, what some people do is, just like if your weigh-in is on Friday, they will drink a lot of water on Thursday. And then they will cut the weight on Friday. So this is two methods I know of. Of course, there's a lot of factors determining, how much weight you have to cut, how much weight you have cut, is it your first time cutting weight? So all these factors are there. But on a general basis, these are the two methods that I have heard of.
So it's like fasting, where you just drink water and don't even eat anything.
No, you eat, but like, for example, for me, I ate, or rather, I drank soups in lunch, Indian. Basic, some cheese maybe or something, whatever, peanut butter. I don't know. I don't remember actually.
Mm.
But basic small things in breakfast. Lunch, no breakfast. Okay, lunch, your evening little bit before training. After training, again your dinner. Lunch is because I did my first training in the morning, fasted, like starved. After that, I have my lunch. In the evening, before the training, I'll have something. After the training, again, I'll have soup. So that is how I was eating at that time.
Right.
So
It's a
and won't recommend that for anybody. Like not for a normal person. Not if you don't have any intentions to compete. Don't even why are you even doing that? So like it's that way.
correct. And this is we talked about national. Okay, now when you went to Thailand in Asian Championship, and where you got to meet these international fighters as well. So when you observe them as while they're fighting, or even when you have experience fighting with them, what is the lack that you see in our own fighters, or even in you that case? Is it the lack of infrastructure that we have, or is it the lack of training that we have? You get what you understood my question? Yeah.
Yeah. So honestly speaking, training is not the issue here. As in the quality of the trainers is not the issue here in India. A lot of Indian trainers who are at a high level, which are well regarded in today MMA world, Indian MMA basically, a lot of those trainers have gone before, like very long time ago, to Thailand and Brazil. Like my coach has been to Brazil to learn from there. Some people have went to USA, some people have gone to Thailand. And these guys I have interacted with a lot of coaches. I've been to a lot of coaches. As in I've visited a lot of gyms and all. So I don't see any difference between their training methods. The one problem is your infrastructure. Okay, for MMA. Okay, and second thing is they in the foreign gyms, they have a lot of training partners. Here, the number of training partners who are willing to train in a pro class will be very less compared to what these kind of gyms get in a commercial. Like for example, you are a professional, you're a student, you're a weight loss person who's come there for weight loss. He will not want to train, you will not want to spar. So these kind of people you are getting a lot. You are earning very well. That's good. That's great. But professional classes, a lot of people don't want to do. They are afraid of or what will happen if we spar. We'll get hurt. Whatever injuries will happen, which is not there in US or these kind of countries. There, your normal layman also spar. That is there. They have that culture of they will spar, they will do combat training, and their normal, even their professional classes, fighter classes will also have a lot of people. Compared to here, if you have 10 people in the class, they at one time in a fighters class, not the normal class. Fighters class, you will have like 40-50 people there. This is for the fighters. And their second thing is they have money. They have in the sport, they have money in the sport, they have a way of earning in the sport, which at the moment in India is lesser. MFN is giving you money. Other promotions, some promotions are giving you money. But when the money comes in, you will see a lot influx of a lot of fighters, or a lot of people from rural areas where it's right now right now it's starting to go into rural areas. But before this, it was an urban sport where MMA classes are expensive in cities. So everybody can't do it. So correct. You have to pay the money, and then you have to have the mentality to, कि अरे चल मार भी खाना है आज, so fight भी करेंगे. People who have the money to pay usually don't want to fight, right? And here in India mentality थोड़ा है कि sports थोड़ा ignored है उस हिसाब से. So that all plays a part. And it's not that, honestly, in terms of even combat sports, people say that Indians can't fight or whatever. That is not true. If we are given the same, if in MMA we are given the same infrastructure kind of like which we have in boxing or wrestling, for example, because I'm taking their example because they are also combat sports. We can compete with the best in the world. See, boxing, wrestling, India is there right at the top. Boxing, though, especially now, India is getting medals in almost every competition because they are given government support. They are given everything. A lot of people, they are given government jobs. If you are medaling in nationals or stuff, state, I don't know, like unka har state ka criteria alag hai. If you are get some in some places you have a state gold medal, state medal also you get a job. National medal you also get a job and money, some reward you get. So India, when properly cultivated, like boxing, for example, is the best example. Boxing people are getting medals left and right. Abhi in the previous Olympics, we got bronze, right? And even in the other competitions, Commonwealth, World Championship, and छोटा-छोटा जो competitions होता है, मतलब minor competitions होता है, उसमें भी Indians are getting medals. And Indians are showing their performance. Indians are showing their class in boxing. There is no reason why this shouldn't happen in MMA. Just the lack of government support also is there. But of course, understandable as it's a new sport.
Correct.
Boxing is there since the start, so there's a difference. But this just shows that there is a capability that in combat also we can be ahead. Just we need the support.
Correct. Bala, now we always talk from an Indian perspective, all these things because we are Indians. Now, since you have gotten a chance to interact with international players, what is their take on Indian MMA scene के जो इंडिया से MMA players आते हैं ये उनमें एक speciality रहता ही है. Now let me explain it to you with an example. Now let's take an example of cricket. Okay, so Indian cricketers all around the world are known for their wrist movement. Batting के उनका wrist movement best होता है, right? You take example of the pull shot हमारा हम अच्छा खेल लेता है, example. तो ये हमें कैसे पता चलता है जब कोई बाहर वाला हमें देखता है. ओके, तो वैसे ही जो इंटरनेशनल प्लेयर्स है, व्हाट इज देयर टेक ऑन इंडियन प्लेयर्स हु पार्टिसिपेट इन दीस कॉम्पिटिशंस कि अगर ये इंडियन प्लेयर्स है तो ये इसमें एक स्किल हमेशा रहता ही है करके.
Honestly, अभी तो ऐसा है कि there is not enough sample size of Indians in international scene to for them to make a judgment on the fighters. Okay, we honestly ये भी एक drawback है इस बात का कि international competitions which I have gone through were self-funded. Okay, there is no government sponsoring you. So a lot of people who won with me, I won the national championship in my division. A lot of people who won the national championship in their respective divisions couldn't go to the world championships because they didn't have the money. And travel is expensive, flights and XYZ. So at this moment, I would say that there is not enough sample size for the foreign fighters or the international coaches, whoever, to comment or to tell me that I have seen this in Indians, because there's not enough sample size for them. So धीरे-धीरे that will slowly that will grow and we'll come to know. But I remember once seeing some SFL ka whatever, some package video, behind the scenes or a training work fight camp ka some video, and Dennis Hallman, who was a UFC veteran, he was coaching those fighters, and he said that Indian fighters have noticed to have a lot of stamina and a lot of heart. That is the one thing he really noticed about Indian fighters. So I think that's a good thing to have, in a fight. Stamina, never give up attitude, and a lot of heart. Even though things are going against you, you will still fight back. So that's a good thing, and that's like one of the only comments I've heard from an international coach talking about Indian fighters.
Okay. Now, after you won the 4 national championships, what was did the government or anybody, a bureaucrat or a big personality reach out to you for a rewarding or for your recognition or something?
Nothing. There's nothing.
Nothing.
That's what I said, right? One of the reasons I am also a sports management professional. So I have done my graduate in masters in sports management. So I came into the business because I wanted to know, and there is nothing, to be very honest. In Mumbai especially, chalo, if I was in Haryana or those kind of states, or if I was in a small town, maybe I would have got the recognition. Right now, there is nothing for me. Uh, but there's a one funny thing where in one of the competitions, I won. I was the gold prize, gold medal, first prize, whatever. The guy I defeated in the finals, he went to his village and he was felicitated. So that was for me as like, "Arey, theek hai." Matlab, there's there's no. In Mumbai, I think nobody cares.
अच्छा.
Right now, nobody cares. Mumbai is like the hub of cricket. Even footballers are. I know a schoolmate of mine is Mumbai Indian. Sorry, was it Mumbai
Mumbai
City
FC.
FC? Sorry,
Mumbai City
Mumbai
FC.
City FC. So he was a very pretty big deal, but he also doesn't have a like. He's not a felicitated by the leaders as well. I don't know. Personally, तो मैंने ऐसा नहीं सुना. Obviously, he's well paid and he's a good footballer. He's now, I think he's played for India also in football. So that's a great thing for him. मतलब he's getting in his sport, he's getting the recognition. But on a government front, I'm not sure of what he's getting. And football is like a pretty like the second, I think the second most recognizable sports in India apart from cricket. So I don't know, but I think gradually this is changing because Olympic sports mein jo people have been gone there, they are getting recognition from the government. So small steps, one step at a time. Governments recognize sports pehle, obviously they will get the recognition. This is a new sport, you will get it after some time maybe, or you really do something great, then you will get the recognition. So small steps at a time. I didn't expect also, honestly, that somebody will come and do something for me. But that was the funny part. The person I defeated got a felicitation, but I didn't get the felicitation. I was like, fine, theek hai, chalo.
Yeah, that's a surprise to me as well, because when you told me that all your fights and everything, your journey has been self-funded. तो क्या होता है कि इट इज ये मेंटालिटी रहता है कि लोगों को सपोर्ट तो करना नहीं है, बट जब भी प्राइज जीत के आएंगे तभी दे विल वेलकम यू विद ओपन आर्म्स कि अरे देखो हमारा बाला जीत के आया करके. तो आई थॉट वो अजम्पशन मार के कोई तो ऐसा सेलिब्रेट किया रहेगा कि अच्छा बाला आया जीत के.
नहीं, ऐसा
दैट्स
कुछ नहीं
रियली
होता है.
सरप्राइज फॉर मी कि कोई था नहीं करके.
Honestly, it was not surprising for me. I honestly didn't expect anything like that. So, well, good for me because मतलब ऐसे expectation dash होने से अच्छा मैंने expect ही नहीं किया था कुछ. And honestly, at that time, I don't think it was like कि कुछ बड़ा किया मैंने, ऐसा लगा मुझे. तो it was like कि ठीक है. It happens. Let's see. Small steps at a time. My mentality was also the same. Ki dheere dheere, let's see where this goes. Because even I was not sure at that time. Ki arey kuch, am I going to continue with this? I'm just fighting. I'm just winning. That's great. But where am I going with this? So I wasn't also that much concerned about it. And I even like in Mumbai, it's very difficult because in a city like Mumbai, and that's also a good difference between that guy and me. That I live in Mumbai. Mumbai, nobody has time to look at other people. Mumbai is like a fast moving city. You just look at yourself. In a small town where, in a small town or like a village, whatever. Well, I don't know where exactly that place is, but I saw on Instagram that he was, honored. So in that kind of a space, if you win and come something, everybody knows everybody. Or they will say this guy's son came and won. So they will go and celebrate, pick him up and celebrate it. So that's good and that also matters. But it's not just that they don't care or they don't know about the sport. The environment also matters. I don't think in Mumbai, even if you are felicitated, but it won't make any difference to your life. Like nobody will say, oh, hey, this is the guy. Nobody will recognize you on the street. This is the guy who he won in the badminton tournament, or he is a footballer for India. Even I think Indian footballers can walk easily in Mumbai without fear of anybody recognizing them. But in there, like your small town or small villages, you walk, at least when you're felicitated after that, at least for a month, you will walk everywhere and they will say, oh, a fighter aa gaya. So there is that thing. And that's good. That's great and that's good for them. And but Mumbai mein, so I didn't have any illusions about having this kind of a thing.
Bala, you have participated in competitions and you something which is common is injuries, right?
Hmm.
I saw one of your photos where वो जो mouthpiece पहनते हैं ना, that was
Hmm.
filled, that was completely red. Your gums were
Hmm.
bleeding. So that was quite horrifying for me to see when I saw कि person who is national champion उसको इतना ऐसा injury हुआ कि his mouth is bleeding. So what is your take on injuries? How frequently have you been injured in these competitions?
Honestly, to be frank, I haven't been that injured. Like touchwood, God's grace.
Hmm.
That was a competition. That particular photo you're talking about, I fought 4 times in 2 weeks, 2 days. Sorry, 2 days. So it was a 3-day tournament. First day I had a bye, and
Hmm.
second and third day I fought twice each.
Hmm.
So it was a grueling schedule for me, and that was just after the tournament, just after I won the tournament. So that the bleeding had already started. But if you see a later photo, I guess if you have seen the later photo, I don't know. But tabhi my skin wasn't reddened. The same day I had to catch a flight back to Mumbai, and the security guard was like, "Bhai, tum kya karke aaye ho?" Like my face, this whole region was red, like bruises all over. So just after I fought, I didn't have bruises, but after I cooled down, I took a bath, freshened up, I started getting these bruises on. तो पूरा skin, black eye जैसा होता है. But my skin had turned black and blue all over him. So he was like, "तुम क्या?" Like the police guy on the airport was saying कि क्या हुआ, तुम क्या करके आए? तो मैं, but fortunately I had my trophy with me. So he was like, "Okay, चलो जाओ तुम." So नहीं, he also said congratulations because he was from Haryana, I guess. So he was like, "अरे sportsman हो,
Right.
congrats." So
Okay. So as such, you have never
so
been injured.
that's there, but that is a tournament injury. Honestly, in my experience, looking at myself also in the others, training injuries are a lot more serious than your tournament injuries. Tournament injuries are just like flesh wounds and stuff. Bleeding is nothing. Bleeding, I'm not saying it to be like macho or something. Bleeding will go in like
Normal.
2 days, 3 days. Your swelling or bruising also goes in like 2 or 3 days. So it's
Hmm.
not that big of a deal I think to any fighter, they will not care. But your muscle tears, your fractures, or most of them happen in training. Your ACL tears, your ligament tears, and those are the ones who like really impact you because they will like you will have to sit at home for like 6 to 7 months or XYZ if it's really serious, or you may have to have a surgery. So that is the grueling part. And when you are training like twice a day, and then during fight camps you are on a calorie deficit because you have to lose weight to get to the point where you will dehydrate yourself.
Hmm.
So that also is going on. So you are on a calorie deficit, you are on a diet, intermittent fasting, or whatever your dietitian has suggested. So injuries are very common in training, in sparring, in wrestling, especially wrestling or grappling. They are very common. You have broken ribs, jaw, uh, and the most feared is your ACL tear, your knee ligament. If it tears, your career is on hold for like 1.5 years for sure. So that is one of the most scary injuries, and not in terms of health wise. You will recover, but it's not that. But for the fighter, keeping your career on hold for 1.5 years is like a big deal, and that is why it's scary.
Hmm. So as such, you never had to deal with any massive injury where you were like sitting for
No,
6 weeks,
no.
6 months, something.
I had to deal with an ankle ligament tear. Uh, but a grade, I don't know the grade one. One is the severe one, or 4, 5 is the severe one. I don't know. I don't remember the doctor's advice. But
Hmm.
it was a tear which
Hmm.
didn't require any surgery. He just said, you sit at home for like 1 month, it will heal up. Then I sat at home for 1 month. Again, I went to training. Again, that pain started, and I was scared every time. So at least like again, the pain started. I again sat for 1 month. So that was kind of a thing. So actually, I have been on the shelf for like 3 months because of an injury in totality, basically.
Right. And is जो medical infrastructure है with regards to MMA injuries, how much is that developed? कि कभी ऐसा sloppiness दिखा है कि it is like very good for MMA fighters जो existing
Uh,
medical है.
existing medical in the sense your clinics.
Like yes, how good, how well they are with dealing with MMA injuries.
I think MMA as such doesn't hold any relevance in your injuries.
Okay.
They will treat it as a broken whatever, broken something, your toe, muscle,
Hmm.
whatever. They will treat it as such. It
Hmm.
doesn't matter if it's MMA for them, at least for the doctor. I went to him with a torn ligament at that point because the
Hmm.
X-ray or the MRI they told me that it was torn ankle. So I went to him with
Hmm.
that. So he didn't care if it was from MMA or could have been from football, or I could have had a fall, I could have had an accident. It didn't matter. He was a sports orthopedic surgeon, obviously, but he didn't
Hmm.
care.
Okay.
Not, and he didn't even hold any relevance in the cure. So I
Got
don't
it.
think, and they are developed. They fair in
Very good.
it's medical facilities in India are at par, obviously,
Hmm.
but obviously you need to find a good doctor. I mean, the doctor who cares, and it's not just that the person who's charging more is a good doctor. A doctor can be the person who really gives a fuck
Knows
about
his
you.
stuff. Correct.
Yeah.
Hmm. Now, Bala, we have talked a lot about this sport and your journey as a fighter. One of
Hmm.
the it is my personal fascination. You can say I don't know about how others might feel, but when I got to know, I'll see how I found your profile. Okay, so मेरे में random thought आया कि यार देखो MMA के लिए commentary करने के लिए यूएसए में लोग हैं, ठीक है? तो मैंने
Hmm.
ऐसे ही लिंक्डइन पे एक दिन सर्च किया यूएफसी कमेंटेटर करके, ठीक है?
Uh,
And the first name that popped was your name. Okay.
okay.
And like okay, this is really fascinating. Okay, कि ये
Hmm.
बंदा यूएफसी कमेंट्री कर रहा है, वो भी वो स्पोर्ट के लिए जहाँ पे लोग इतना अभी व्यूअरशिप नहीं देखते, हिंदी में चैनल पे तो नहीं देखते, लोग ऐसा दूसरे वेज से देखते होंगे. But like okay, let's connect to him, get to know more. So I personally give a fuck about this thing, इसलिए I want to know कि
Yeah.
how did you become a commentator of a sport which is जहाँ का how should I put it, relevance is not the question here, कि जहाँ का जो स्पोर्ट का कमेंट्री करना is not considered huge. Like I'll give you an example. क्रिकेट में हर्षा भोगले, okay, everybody knows हर्षा भोगले, it's a huge thing. हर्षा भोगले commentating करना है. रवि शास्त्री, classic example. तो people give
Hmm.
a fuck about them, right? But ऐसा कैसे कि how did you figure out कि I want to become a commentator of this sport?
I honestly, it was not like intended from my side that I'll become a commentator.
Hmm.
Um, it kind of like was chance that one of my friends who was training in my gym, he was friends with a assistant producer, no, producer at Sony.
Hmm.
Now this guy was looking for the producer at Sony was looking for commentators for Hindi, and he wanted fighters basically, technical knowledge for you give your technical analysis or knowledge about the sport. So he asked my friend about it, and that friend told I used to write articles. So I used to write news articles about MMA for MMA India. Then I used to write technical analysis for MMA, and I do some videos for like 1 minute technical analysis on MMA. So I like to believe that my technical analysis is good,
Hmm.
and I'm articulate enough to express it in a way that people understand.
Hmm.
So and obviously he suggested me.
Hmm.
Then you have to give your, and then the process
The
is very
process.
mechanical, right?
Hmm.
Where you have to I shared my resume, I gave a audio recording of me saying something, then I had to go there and I have to give like 4 or 5 auditions where they tested me every way experience, basically gave me experience, and then
Hmm.
the commentary started. So it was like that, so it was like a
Hmm.
mechanical experience. Yeah, but it was, I didn't intend to be, but of course when I got the opportunity I knew that I was not gonna let go of it, because it kind of is where I wanted to be in a way.
राइट. तो ये हाउ देखो, हिंदी में फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल कोई भी स्पोर्ट में कमेंट्री करना काफी डिफिकल्ट है. तो
Hmm.
हाउ हिंदी कितना, यू नो हाउ मच आर यू हैंड्स ऑन विथ हिंदी एज अ लैंग्वेज टू बी एबल टू कमेंट इट ऑन सच अ स्पोर्ट which is like very technical?
So honestly, living in Mumbai for I mean whole of my life, I'm very good with Hindi. I'm a Maharashtrian, so Marathi, Hindi. I speak Marathi at home. So Marathi and Hindi, you have dialect is very similar. So and obviously my whole life I've been talking Hindi to people. So
नहीं
it was
नहीं
not an issue. Speaking. See, I'll tell you.
yeah.
Speaking Hindi is different.
Correct.
Okay. Your commentary is different. But see, in that sense, I was lucky because they didn't want it to be like cricket. Okay,
अच्छा
that was their brief in a way कि हमको बल्ला मारा, दे घुमाया, गन चूम लिया, बॉल फेंक दिया, क्या वो नहीं, they
etc.
didn't want that kind of a thing.
हाँ
And in a way, like in a way we don't talk in the start. So I didn't. I tried to get by. I have very good co-commentators. One is Shashwat, who's a stand-up comedian and in Comicstan, and so he has very good command on his language. Another person is Savi, who is now also a WWE commentator for Sony Hindi. So he has a very good command on Hindi language. So these both guys were the people who used to fill color. And in the start, I was like kind of the only technical analysis guy. I would only not that I would not. I will just come in. I was there the whole time, but I would try to speak more technically. And when I used to talk more technically, there was no way I am gonna translate it in Hindi. That's I had a brief that they didn't want that. They didn't want hukka, they didn't want lat, they didn't want ghusa, they didn't want chamat, whatever, pakad liya, daboch liya, फेंक दिया तो ठीक है, normal है, it's normal. दबोच लिया, लपेट लिया, they didn't want that. They wanted left punch, right punch, your leg kick, high kick, and obviously Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu का तो I don't know the translations in Hindi. Your punches का तो कि घुसा मार दिया, नीचे से घुसा लगा दिया, वो सब तो you have. But Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, there's no way I can translate.
Correct.
So I was lucky in the start that they kept me like कि you are new, so you धीरे-धीरे slowly you build your confidence. So in the start, I was mostly focusing on technical aspects that this was a good combination. This guy is now gonna take him down by using his right leg. He's passing the guard. He's looking for armbar, dash choke, whatever. So that I kept slowly. I built my repertoire in Hindi of the words, and now I feel confident in saying that I use a very formal Hindi, but I use words like fasla. Achambit kiya and XYZ, the things we learned in our Hindi textbook, a lot on a good basis I can use those words. So right now I have the confidence of talking in Hindi in a very full-fledged Hindi basically. Right. But apart from the technical terms, almost everything I'll talk in Hindi. But there is no English words, random English words added. I'll talk in Hindi apart from your technical, like your punches and kicks, takedown, submissions, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, dash choke. Apart from those words, those proper nouns in a way, I'll talk in full Hindi.
Right. Actually, great that you explained it so well, because मेरा actually question वही था कि देखो हिंदी में तो बात करने को हम कर लेते हैं, right? But when you know कि at least tens of thousands of people are watching this match and people are going to listen to my voice, तो उसमें थोड़ा हिंदी अच्छा होना चाहिए. अभी उसमें तेरे को मेरे को तो नहीं चलेगा, वो अपना मुंबई वाला language है. But great that you explained it. Now, I noticed a few videos as well in your profile के obviously ये तो अमेरिका में मैच होता है, इसलिए we can't help, या अबू धाबी में, दो जगह पे. तो जो टीवी से व्यू करके देखना जो एक्सपीरियंस है व्हेन यू आर कमेंटेटिंग, वो कैसा लगता है कि डू यू हैव यू एवर फेल्ट द नीड के यार फिजिकली करे तो अच्छा है, या ये जो अभी सिस्टम चल रहा है कि व्हेन यू आर वाचिंग द मिनी टीवी पे वही अभी सही चल रहा है?
मिनी टीवी तो नहीं है, वो टीवी है अच्छा खासा. But of course, like I commentated a live event also in India, a local MMA event, like Indian MMA event basically. It was on a good scale. Like there was a gymnasium, there was crowd, at least 200-300 people were there. I had commentated that event, so the energy was unbelievable. Okay, for 200-300 people. Me commentating, I mean, they can't hear me commentating. My commentating is going on broadcast, and if it's streamed somewhere, my voice is coming there. They have no relation to my voice. They are just screaming or they are just cheering for themselves. And even the places where I have not commentated, but I have attended the fights or I have been in fights, the energy is incredible. Even when like 100 people, 200 people are there. Okay. So imagine like 1,000, 20,000, 50,000 people are there. The energy will be insane. And of course, I want to go there and commentate, obviously. But I understand that fact. No, it's not possible. At least right now, it's not possible in the foreseeable future. So, I mean, I understand that, right? I was explained clearly, what the job entailed. And I was happy to do that because even in the screen, when you're commentating, if I'm commentating a match, I'm not commentating a match, I will just, whatever the emoticons are there or emotions are there in my head, I will not express them like except in like something very surprising happens. So, for example, I'll give you an example. So, like if one fighter lands a good punch, I will not say, oh, every time. I will not say every time at home. But special occasions are like when Conor McGregor knocked out Jose Aldo, I was sitting live like in my living room. I screamed. And my mom and dad came outside saying, "Arey, kya hua?" नहीं कुछ नहीं हुआ, वो fight देख रहा था मैं. I literally screamed. I'm not even like, oh, ऐसा नहीं. Oh, this was like the huge scream I had, and these guys came. It's 8 o'clock, right? It's in Indian time, whatever. It was morning. So I screamed, and these guys were sleeping, and they came outside saying, "Arey, kya ho gaya?" So it was that. There was the one rare or 2 or 3 rare moments where I screamed. But in my commentating, I have to scream out at. And it's not that I have to scream out. I don't know. It unconsciously, it comes out. Like if there's a huge combination, I'm like, oh my God, that's a huge combination. Or, oh my God, that's a knockdown. Yeah, it comes out naturally. So there is, even though I'm still in front of a screen, I'm still in a studio, but that energy, I don't know, while commentating, it's a different energy for me. And definitely I would love to commentate in front of like 50, a packed stadium. But right for now, I'm happy with this because every time I'm excited to go and watch the fights and I'm getting paid to talk about fights. So that's a dream come true for me right now.
Rightly said. I'm just happy, even as a person, you are doing very well in a field which is really unexplored, and I'm really fascinated to know everything that you are doing. Now, just a simple added question will be, abhi dekho, you were brought on the commentating team for your technical ability, right? So when you told that Shashwat Maheshwari is also commentating, so what is the purpose of him being over there because of the fact that he's a comic?
Honestly, before me, Shashwat has been commentating at least a year before me, like before I joined.
For MMA only?
Yeah, UFC. So, and honestly, when I came in the, I didn't know what to expect. I mean, I didn't know, I knew he was a comic. Like when I knew this guy is doing it for 1 year. So I knew. So I knew Shashwat Maheshwari. I have heard of him before I did my UFC commentary. So I talked to him, and he was like, he is very technical, or he has a good knowledge of MMA.
Okay.
So I didn't expect that. He will know. I thought he was like, he's a good talk. He will have a good voice. He will have a good command, because as a stand-up, he will obviously have a good command of his voice and all. Comics जो creative होते हैं बात करने में, तो obviously he will have a good command of that. But in MMA knowledge also, he was very good when I talked to him at first, and I was very impressed with that. And even I call him the Joe Rogan, because like a comedian and a UFC commentator, and right now he's started training also. That's a good thing. And so they wanted a hardcore fighter. So they wanted a proper fighter. At that time he was not training, but now he's also training. Although he wants to fight one amateur fight. Like he doesn't have any he doesn't want to continue it. He wants to fight one amateur. He's training. And my other commentator, Sabi, was not a commentator at all. He also joined with me. So during his auditions also, he had a very good command of Hindi. like he's from North Chhattisgarh, so he had a very good command of Hindi. He's an artist manager here for bands and stuff, and very very well versed in Hindi, like your poems and your shairis and stuff. So very good command of Hindi. And at that time, he didn't have that much knowledge. But obviously, they were looking for like if I have to draw parallels in terms of the UFC, Shashwat was like a Joe Rogan. Savi was like at that time like John Anik basically. You have to have a good voice for
Good voice,
your TV. Like he has a very good voice, and even Shashwat does, but his voice is very heavy and like very nice. So he starts with the introduction key. You're welcome to the UFC Fight Night 2000, whatever, no, 276, UFC 276, 277, whatever. And he is very well versed in talking. And after at that time, he didn't have a lot of knowledge, but he's also researched very well. And he's also training right now. He's not training MMA, he's training boxing. But he's also he has a personal interest in both these guys, even though they are not fighters per se. But these guys have a good interest in sports, combat sports as well. They know about it and they follow it. As in, for this Sunday I have to commentate, then I'll forget about it. No, these guys follow the sport. They are also training, which is a sign of dedication for me at least. So that's a good thing, and it doesn't feel like work when I go there. It feels like, and even our producer also is like, it's not like he doesn't know anything about it. He's also a fan. So even I think both are two producers and other people also. People who work on UFC in Sony, everybody follows the sport. So it doesn't feel like work. It feels like you're going with friends to talk. And you're going with friends to chill. You're watching a UFC fight. You're chilling with your friends. It's just that there's a microphone in front of you.
Wow. I mean, Bala, it has been like such a pleasure to know in your entire journey, right from the time you started to the time you're winning the nationals and to be doing this great job of commentating. Thoroughly enjoyed talking to you, man. And
thank you. Same here.